Okay. Carl Weber, torn between two lovers. Okay. Now, in this one, as I was saying, you've got the story of Lorraine and her husband working on their marriage. And she has cut off her relationship with her best friend Jerome because he has sabotaged her marriage by planting another woman's undergarments in her home and paying the woman to seal the deal and lie, saying that she was definitely sleeping with her husband. And Leon professed his innocence the entire time, but Lorraine did not believe him. So they are now in the process of working on their marriage, and Leon has found himself in therapy because there's some things that he has going on and they need to get to the bottom of what's causing it. So in there they find that there were some things that happened to him in his childhood. He was raised by his aunt and uncle, and there were two types of abuse that went on in his childhood that play a role in who he is today. So that will be, you may want to read that to get a better understanding of that. Like I said, one of the issues or the issue that they had in the marriage was, like I said, Johnny on the spot, Minute Man. Yeah. So they had to try to help him get past that. Meanwhile, Lorraine has Michael in the wings for her R&R, or completion. Okay, let's just go there. And Jerome is hanging out there and he's doing his thing. So, Jerome bounces from, place to place. But again, he likes the undercover brothers who are married. He likes married guys who are in the closet. And it's very interesting. Now, he has some regulars that he calls sponsors. One by the name of Big Papa, which was his number one for about 5 years. No one knows who Big Papa is, but when Big Papa comes into play, everybody else got to move out of the way because it's Big Papa time. Don't nobody interfere with that. All right, then there's this guy Peter that came on the scene. And he really, that guy is really messed up, because Peter was like, after one night of being with him, he was like, you know what, I'm coming all the way out the closet. I'm going to leave my wife. I'm going to leave my kids. I want you. Jerome like, put on the brakes. Oh, I ain't tell you all that. What's wrong with you, white boy? So the guy, vengeance is mine was his goal. He was like, no, So he began exposing any and every relationship, anybody that was close to him, he exposed them. He was the one who made Lorraine aware that Leon had been set up and that it was by Jerome. He provided pictures, the lady's name, address, everything. Lorraine confronted the lady, got all her validation and everything. So Peter was serious. So there was another young man that Jerome was dating that he was had grown fond of. It was a young guy who was playing basketball for a college. Well, Peter got a hold of his information, and basically he outed him by sending pictures of he and Jerome in a very compromising situation. Sent it to his mother and sent it to his coach. Well, nonetheless, the young fellow lost his scholarship for school. He had to move back home. He was embarrassed. He did not see himself as being gay. He did not want to admit to being gay, and it caused him to be depressed and a number of other things. I mean, it was really awful, and all this was at the hand of Peter. Well, Jerome went to the police station and tried to report Peter, but Peter had police on payroll. Come to find out, Peter was one of those crime buster type reporters who crack cases that nobody else can solve. He gets pictures and information that nobody else could get a hold of. He solves old crimes. He's a detective type reporter, and this is how he was able to track down Jerome. I mean, he knew where he was. He would find out intimate details about different things. I mean, Peter was off the chain, driving Jerome crazy. But he couldn't let him know who Big Papa was, because he had said, if it would just be an absolute mess if he found out who he was. Excuse me, it is 3:01 in the morning. I'm sorry. So at any rate, the story goes on, and Lorraine and Leon decide to renew their vows. She's still been keeping Michael on the side, but then she decides on the day of the wedding, I've got to cut him loose and really, put all my focus on my husband. I love my husband. He loves me. And they sincerely did love each other a lot. They really did. You could really feel that in the pages. So just before the ceremony, she did call Michael and say, hey, that's enough. That's it. I quit. I'm going to devote myself to my husband's, wholeheartedly. So this was tough on Michael. And as sweet as Michael was, Michael became a little stalker. Ooh, he was following her, and he bought a gun, and following around town and following her. I'm like, Michael, now we was liking you. I'm gonna need you to get together. Well, long story short, again, I'm just giving you different clips because I would like to encourage you to read the books. I'm just giving you enough information to make you go out and purchase or go to your local library and borrow, because they do have them in the libraries. So, and this book came out this year for those who are just catching up to me. And long story short, I'm not going to give you the kicker. I'm not going to give you the ending, because the ending, I'm not going to give you the ending. But what I will tell you is Lorraine ended up with Michael. And she had to really just, in a painful way, she ended up with Michael. Jerome got his revenge. I don't like the way they ended it. I think Weber could have done a better job of ending it. It was kind of just, the ending was kind of thrown together. I was disappointed on how it was just closed. Should have been a little bit more cunning into it. But I mean, the guy put out 2 books this year, and I'm sure he was pretty exhausted. I don't know. Maybe it was a rush on the publishing. I don't know. But at any rate, there's a lot of detail, and I know I didn't do that justice. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. But I'll give you one of the situations like I gave you with the other one. If your husband catches you in the car with a man he knows that you were previously with, and he tells you to get out of the car, what would you do? Here's the situation. Leon has left his therapy session early. Traffic is backed up on the interstate, so he decides to go through the city, which is a back way. He's going to go to a Chinese restaurant. His wife, Lorraine, loves Chinese, but he knows that, because of the time of day, they won't be able to eat together, because she's supposed to be going out of town for a meeting. So he comes around the corner, he sees a blue, I think it was a blue Cadillac, and he's going, okay, not only did I like the car, he said, but that lady in the car looked like my wife on the passenger side. So, subconscious, he just follows the car, and he says, not only does that woman on the passenger side look like my wife, it is my wife. So he's following them, and he's thinking, oh man, how am I going to, approach this? He's thinking, what's in my trunk? Or he's got his golfing clubs, and he's like, I'm going to beat, hey, because he realizes that this is Michael driving. He's like, I'm going to beat him with my 9-iron. I'm going to bust up the car. I'm going to bust his head in. Oh. But as it goes on, you know how when you have a heightened emotion, you kind of go through different phases. Well, his next phase was, I'm not finna wait till they get to where they're going. So he goes through traffic. He pulls up on the side of them and he lays on his horn. And they turn like, what fool is this nigga? This was Lorraine's reaction, hand over mouth. Oh crap! Pull over! Get out of the car! First, Michael drives up a little bit, so Leon's thinking this dude gonna keep going, but Michael pulls over, so Leon pulls over behind him. He sees Lorraine pat Michael on the shoulder as if to say, "I'll handle this." By this time, Leon is out the car and on the driver's side, cause again he hot. Okay, he know who this man is, and that's his wife. What? And he's dealing with all this craziness in counseling. Lorraine gets out of the car, calm, cool, and collected. Gets out. These cars are sitting like this. She gets out of Michael's car, or I guess backwards. She gets out of Michael's car and walks to her husband's car and gets in the passenger side. So Leon goes and get in the car. They began to have where he said, we're going to talk about this when we get home. I'm thinking, ooh. Now, my sister read this one with me. Her response was, she said she would have took off running. My response was, I'd have been afraid he'd have caught me. So I would have maybe gotten the back seat, or I wouldn't have gotten the car at all. We might have had to handle it at the police station. I don't know, because that's scary. I mean, what would y'all do? Okay, back to the book. That was me. So she wants to tell him when they get home, she wants to tell him it was a business meeting. There was nothing going on. That was not what he thinks. For real. He said, you must think I'm stupid. So she ended up trying to laying her lie on thick. The doorbell rang. Guess who at the door? It's Michael. She said, "Don't get out of here, and I'm trying to..." By this time, Leon walks out the door. They finna go at it. But then Michael calls Leon Minute Man, Johnny Quick. It takes the breath out of Leon. So Leon's like, okay, you know what, you want her, you can have her. Because he's looking at her like, how could you? This is something personal. It's his personal business. It's his manhood. He's in counseling, working on it. And here, the man that she's cheating with knows his problem. Leon was floored. He said, you know what, you can have her. Go on. I filed the papers for divorce. I had my lawyer draw them up. Oh, Lorraine doesn't want this. So she starts screaming, oh, no, I don't want him. I want to see with you. Yada, yada, yada. Because she loved her husband. So basically, she dissed Michael right there. Okay. Well, Michael going like, what? Well, you got opportunity to leave. And you, what? What? Well, Leon puts on all kinds of lockdown. She got to be at home by 6:30. He installed cameras in the house. He checks cell phone and voice messages every 30 minutes or so. I mean, her phone number been changed. The security guard at the office and the receptionist monitor call. I mean, Leon said, you gonna make this work. This is what you got to go through till I can trust you again. I'm like, damn. Oh, I said it then. I'm sorry. So, that plays on out, and here is where it gets very serious, and this is the part I don't want to tell you. But Leon had a secret, and that secret cost him a lot. And in the end of it, Lorraine ended up with Michael for sure. Jerome lost a lot, but he did get his revenge on Peter.